Expand your vocabulary with our Core 2000 Words ebook. It's free and packed with essential expressions that you'll use on a daily basis. Start building your vocabulary today. Click the link in the description below to download your free Polish ebook before it's gone.
Cześć, jestem Joanna. Hi, I'm Joanna. Welcome to PolishPod101.com's Polski w 3 minuty, the fastest, easiest and most fun way to learn Polish. In the last lesson, we learned the numbers from 1 to 10. Do you remember? Let's practice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Great job! And now let's continue from 11. 11, 11, 12, 12, 13, 13, 14, 14, 15, 15, 16, 16, 17, 17, 18, 18, 19, 19. And finally we have 20. 20. Okay, now repeat after me. I'll say the numbers and give you time to repeat each one. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. These numbers may seem harder to remember, but you really just have to memorize 14, 15, 16, and 19. The rest of them are just compounds of a digit and naście, like 3, naście, 7, naście. Easy, isn't it? Let's not stop at 20. Counting to 100 is super easy. Now I'll give you the tens. 30, 30, 40, 40, 50, 50, 60, 60, 70, 70, 80, 80, 90, 90, 100, 100. The first 3 tens may be a little bit tricky because their endings are different from other tens. Let's take a closer look. 20 is made from 2 and 10. 30 is 3 and 10. And finally 40 is 4 and 10. Please note that we cut off the last letter of 4, which means 4. Then, starting from 50, it gets much easier, because we just take the digit and add the ending dziesiąt. Let's try together. 5 and dziesiąt is 50. 6 and dziesiąt is 60. 7 and dziesiąt is 70. 8 and dziesiąt is 80. And finally, 9 and dziesiąt is 90. The last thing to learn today is how to form compound numbers above 20. This is also super easy. Take the tens and simply add the numbers you learned in the previous lesson. Let's try it out. How would you say 56 in Polish? Let's take it step by step. 50 is 50. And then add 6, 6. 56. Isn't that easy? Let's make another number, for instance, 98. Take 90, 90, and add 8, 8. 98. After only 2 lessons, you are now able to count to 100 in Polish. In the next lesson, we are going to put your number knowledge to use. Do you have all the skills you need to go shopping in Poland? If not, I'll be waiting for you in our next Polski w 3 minuty lesson. Do zobaczenia! Cześć, jestem Joanna. Hi, I'm Joanna. Welcome to PolishPod1on1.com's Polski w 3 minuty, the fastest, easiest and most fun way to learn Polish. In the last lesson, we learned how to count in Polish. I hope you spent some time practicing the numbers because they will come in handy today. We're going to learn how to go shopping in Poland. Before we go, you need to know how to say how much is it? Ile to kosztuje? Ile to kosztuje? Are you ready to go shopping in Poland? Let's go! You see something you like and want to ask the shop clerk how much it costs. The first thing to say is przepraszam. Do you remember what that means? Excuse me. Przepraszam, ile to kosztuje? Przepraszam, ile to kosztuje? If we want to be more specific when asking how much is it and refer to a certain type of object, we first need to know if the object is a feminine or masculine object. If it's masculine, add ten when referring to it, and ta for a feminine object, and then say the noun. For example, a watch is masculine. Zegarek. Przepraszam, ile kosztuje ten zegarek? Excuse me, how much is this watch? Przepraszam, ile kosztuje ten zegarek? And skirt is a feminine noun. Spódnica. Przepraszam, ile kosztuje ta spódnica? Excuse me, how much is this skirt? Przepraszam, ile kosztuje ta spódnica? And finally, if we ask about the price of a few similar items, like these t-shirts, these apples, these toys, we have to add te before the noun. For example, przepraszam, ile kosztują te jabłka? Excuse me, how much are these apples? Przepraszam, ile kosztują te jabłka? At this point, the shop clerk will usually answer by saying just the price of an item. For example, 15 złotych, 100 złotych, or 24,50. What number is 15? Do you remember? Of course, it's 15. Now it's time for Joanna's insights. A quicker and more commonly used phrase is po ile, which literally means how much. Then we just add the name of an item we want to know the price of. For example, po ile te jabłka? Or po ile ten zegarek? Or you can just say po ile and point to the item. Both ways are perfectly fine. At this point, can you count złoty in Polish? We are going to learn how to do this and much more in the next lesson. I'll be waiting for you in our next Polski w 3 minuty lesson. Do zobaczyska!
Want to master grammar? so you can speak properly, express yourself better, and understand more? In this video, I'll show you how to master grammar with our lessons and learning program. Let's begin. Number 1. Listen to the lesson conversations and explanations. In every lesson, you learn a conversation. Then, our teachers break down every word and grammar rule. So you're actually learning grammar rules in the context of conversations, and you can easily see how they're used. Once you're done, review the conversation again and again to remember what you've learned. Number 2. Read the bonus explanations and tutorials. With the lesson notes, you get extra grammar explanations and examples that are not presented in the lesson. After you're done with the lesson, read the lesson notes for extra review. You can even save them as PDFs so that you can access them anytime. Number 3. Leave a comment on the lesson. Once you've learned a grammar point, be sure to use it. Leave a comment in the comments section. Write some example sentences for practice. Our teachers will review your comment and give you feedback. Number 4. Unlock even more grammar lessons. If you want to find all of the grammar lessons available, visit our lesson library. Under Category, choose Grammar. You'll get all of the pathways and lessons dedicated to helping you learn and master sentence patterns and grammar points. So, if you're ready to finally learn a new language the fast, fun, and easy way, sign up for your free lifetime account by clicking on the link in the description. Signing up takes less than 30 seconds, and you'll start speaking from your very first lesson. If you enjoyed these tips, hit the like button, share it with anyone who's trying to learn a new language, and subscribe to our channel. We release new videos every week. I'll see you next time. Bye!
Cześć, jestem Joanna. Hi, I'm Joanna. Welcome to PolishPad101.com's Polski w 3 minuty, the fastest, easiest and most fun way to learn Polish. In the last lesson, we learned the phrase przepraszam. Czy mówisz po angielsku? Excuse me, do you speak English? We mentioned the word przepraszam, which means excuse me. In this lesson, we're going to learn how to apologize in Polish. It's very easy. First of all, good news. We don't differentiate between I'm sorry and excuse me. In Polish, we have just one word, przepraszam, which can be used in both situations when we want to apologize or draw someone's attention. There's also no difference between formal and informal situations. It's always the same przepraszam. Let's go through some situations in which przepraszam can be used. If you want to draw someone's attention, just put przepraszam in front of the question. For example, przepraszam, czy to miejsce jest wolne? Excuse me, is this seat occupied? Or przepraszam, jak dojść do dworca? Excuse me, how can I get to the train station? In such a case, you can modify the question by adding panią if you're addressing a lady, or pana if you are addressing a man. For example, przepraszam panią, jak dojść do dworca? Excuse me, ma'am, how can I get to the train station? The meaning is exactly the same as before. We just emphasize the gender of a person who we talk to. You can choose whatever version you like better. Both are correct and polite. The other situation in which we use przepraszam is when we apologize. As I mentioned before, we have only this one word for making an apology. We can use it both in formal and informal situations. If you want to make your apology more complex, you could use this phrase. Jestem ci winien przeprosiny. Jestem ci winien przeprosiny. Please note that this is spoken by a man. Woman would say, jestem ci winna przeprosiny. Jestem ci winna przeprosiny. This phrase means I owe you an apology. Usually, after saying this, you are expected to explain what you did wrong or the reason why you think you owe someone an apology. There's one colloquial word used to apologize among young people. It's almost the same as the English sorry. We say sorry. Sorry. It's okay to say it to your friends, but only in the case of a small mistake, something not very serious. For example, when you step on your friend's foot or when you want to refuse going out. Now it's time for Joanna's insights. Making an apology in Polish is very easy. It's enough to just say przepraszam. Here, you don't have to worry about speaking formally or informally, or the age and gender of the person you are talking to. Do you know how to count in Polish? In the next lesson, we will learn the numbers in Polish from 1 to 10. I'll be waiting for you in our next Polski w 3 minuty lesson. Do zobaczenia! Cześć, jestem Joanna. Hi, I'm Joanna. Welcome to PolishPod101.com's Polski w 3 minuty. The fastest, easiest and most fun way to learn Polish. In the last lesson, we learned some words used when apologizing in Polish. In this lesson, we are going to learn numbers in Polish, from 1 to 10. And you are going to learn them in only 3 minutes. 3 minuty. Let's start. 1. 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 6, 6, 7, 7, 8, 8, 9, 9, 10, 10. Okay, now repeat after me. I'll say the numbers and give you time to repeat each one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Great job! What is before 1? Do you know? It's the same as in English, but with a different pronunciation. 0. 0. Now you don't have any more excuses. You can give your friends your phone number in Polish. Let's try together. We will use the phrase mój numer to, which means my number is. Mój numer to. Mój numer to 602 849 020. Can you read it by yourself? 602 849 020. Perfect. Now it's time for Joanna's insights. In Poland, we use numbers the most often when we go shopping, especially when we ask about prices, which you will also learn soon. We also buy many things per kilogram. All vegetables and many fruits are not sold individually, but per kilogram. Also cheese, meat, and sausages. So if you go to a grocery store or supermarket, you would ask the clerk for example, 1 kilogram of minced meat, 500 grams of cheese, or 2 kilograms of onions. Do you know the Polish word for 100? In the next lesson, we are going to learn the numbers from 11 to 100 in Polish. Your task now is to practice the numbers we studied in this lesson, from 1 to 10. Powodzenia! Good luck!
If you're tired of knowing and speaking the language at a basic level and want to express yourself fluently just like native speakers, then you'll need to learn grammar. The problem? It can be tricky to learn. But don't worry, in this guide you'll discover how to learn and master grammar with the Grammar Bank. 1. Where to get all of the grammar explanations you'll ever need. 2. The best way to learn grammar that's right for your level. And 3. How to expose yourself to real examples until the rules become natural to you with a study tool. called the Grammar Bank inside of our learning program. But first, if you don't yet have access to our program, sign up for a free lifetime account right now. Just click the link in the description. First, what is the Grammar Bank? The Grammar Bank is like a grammar dictionary, except online. It's a database of the must-know grammar rules and explanations that makes it easy to look up specific rules and learn them. Look for it in the top menu of our site. 2. How do you learn grammar with it? The best way to learn grammar is not to just study rules, but to learn in context and hear the grammar used in real life. And that's exactly how you learn with our lessons. You learn a quick conversation and hear how the grammar rules are used within that conversation. 3. What if you come across grammar that you're not familiar with? Or what if you want to review a specific rule without going back to redo a lesson? That's where the Grammar Bank comes in. You can look up grammar rules and get the explanations, examples, and links to lessons where we cover these rules. You can also sort grammar by learning level. So if you're an absolute beginner and want to make sure you know all of the absolute beginner grammar rules, you can do just that with the Grammar Bank. You can also sort the rules by spelling, category, and lesson series. And if you want to get used to the grammar patterns so that you can use them in conversation and become fluent, the best way is to expose yourself to examples as much as possible. Grammar is hard at first, but gets easy once you get used to it with enough exposure. Be sure to access the related lessons inside the Grammar Bank and listen to the native conversations that use the rule as much as possible. So, if you want to become fluent and speak perfectly, you'll need grammar. Take advantage of the Grammar Bank inside of our learning program. But if you don't yet have access, sign up for a free lifetime account right now. Just click the link in the description to sign up.
Cześć, jestem Joanna. Hi, I'm Joanna. Welcome to PolishPod101.com's Polski w 3 minuty, the fastest, easiest and most fun way to learn Polish. In the last lesson, we learned how to thank people by saying dziękuję. In this lesson, we will learn some of the most common greetings used in Poland. Gotowi? Are you ready? Zaczynamy. Let's start. There are a few informal greetings in Polish. Cześć. Cześć. Cześć means hi or hello. Another informal greeting is siema. Siema. This phrase also means hi, but it's used only by young people. Another very common greeting is hey. 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 Hey is very easy because it's exactly the same as English hey. All these greetings are very informal, and we should only use them with friends or close relatives. Now let's move on to formal greetings in Polish. There are only 2 that you need to know. We'll start with dzień dobry. Dzień dobry. Literally, dzień dobry means good day. We can use dzień dobry during the whole day, from early morning until evening. If it's the evening, we would say dobry wieczór. Dobry wieczór. What should you say when you leave? Polish people usually say do widzenia when living in a formal situation. Do widzenia. Do widzenia means goodbye. If, however, we are saying goodbye to friends or relatives, we can use the informal papa. Pa, or simply pa. Now you can greet people and say goodbye in many different ways in Polish. Let's review them all again. First, formal greetings. Dzień dobry. Use this phrase during the day. Dobry wieczór. Use this phrase in the evening. The informal greetings are cześć, siema, hej. When living in a formal situation, we say do widzenia. And in an informal situation, it's papa or just pa. Easy, isn't it? Now it's time for Joanna's insights. Do you remember siema? It's an abbreviation of jak się masz, which means how are you? But we just use it in the same way as hi. It's a very common greeting among young people. You will find, as you continue to study Polish, that new greetings constantly appear among young people who often come up with new uses for well-known phrases or their abbreviations. During the next lesson, we'll learn the meaning of the phrase Czy mówisz po angielsku? Do you already know it? See you in the next Polski w 3 minuty lesson. Pa! Cześć, jestem Joanna. Hi, I'm Joanna. Welcome to PolishPod101.com's Polski w 3 minuty, the fastest, easiest and most fun way to learn Polish. In the last lesson, we learned the most common forms of greetings in Poland. Do you remember them? In this lesson, we're going to learn a very useful phrase. Do you speak English? If you find yourself in a situation where you need assistance in English, this phrase can be a lifesaver. And because you're asking it in Polish, you can be sure that everyone will understand what you are saying, even if their answer is no. Here's an informal way to say it. Czy mówisz po angielsku? Czy mówisz po angielsku? Czy is a particle which has no meaning. It's similar to the English do. In Polish, verbs change depending on the pronoun that is used. Since you can understand what the pronoun is by looking at the verb conjugation, we usually skip the pronoun itself. That's why there's no pronoun after czy. Next, we've got the verb mówisz, which means speak. Then there's po, which we always have to put right before a language name. And finally, angielsku, which means English. We're now going to make this sentence formal. First of all, we have to change mówisz into mówi, because the pronoun is changed from you into a respectful pronoun meaning sir or ma'am. Then we add pan, which means sir, or pani, which means ma'am. Everything else stays the same. Czy mówi pan po angielsku? Czy mówi pani po angielsku? Czy mówi pan po angielsku? Czy mówi pani po angielsku? Adding przepraszam, excuse me, makes the sentence more polite. Przepraszam, czy mówi pan po angielsku? Przepraszam, czy mówi pani po angielsku? The response you will receive could be one of these four. Tak, yes, tak. Trochę, a little, trochę. Nie, no. Nie. Nie, nie mówię po angielsku. No, I don't speak English. Nie. Nie mówię po angielsku. Since the last one is a negative statement, we need to say nie before the verb mówię. Notice also that the verb is slightly different than before. Remember, the verb changes depending on the pronoun used. We are now talking about ourselves, so the sentence is nie mówię po angielsku. Now it's time for Joanna's insights. For those of you who are not only English speakers, you can obviously use this question with any language you need. Polish people study other European languages at school, so maybe you will get lucky. Just substitute po angielsku with po niemiecku for German, po rosyjsku for Russian, po włosku for Italian, po hiszpańsku for Spanish, po francusku for French. Today we mentioned the expression przepraszam. But did you know that this could also be used as an apology? In the next lesson, we will learn this and other ways to apologize in Polish. It's never too late to show your good manners with Polish people. I see you in our next Polski w 3 minuty lesson. Do zobaczyska!
Learning to carry a conversation is vital to mastery of any language. Even beginners can quickly learn conversational language well enough to carry on real conversations with native speakers. Of course, beginners won't be able to carry a conversation the same way they could in their native language. But just knowing a few tips, like which questions to ask to keep a conversation going, are all you need to speak and interact with real native speakers. Before we get to specific suggestions, let's first take a closer look at how having real conversations in your target language is so vital to your mastery of the language. Communicating with other people is the very point of language, and conversation comes easily in our native tongue. For beginners or anyone learning a new language, conversations aren't easy at all, and even simple greetings can be intimidating and awkward. Nothing kills a conversation faster than long periods of awkward silence, so you need practice and specific strategies to avoid them. When you know what to say to keep a conversation going, communication becomes much easier, and you make a better impression on your listener. Nothing will help you learn to speak a language faster and truly master the language than having real conversations with native speakers. Conversations quickly expose you to slang, cultural expressions, and vocabulary that force you to absorb and assimilate information faster than any educational setting. And that's a great thing. But how can you possibly have real conversations with real people if you're just starting out? Here are 3 proven methods that even beginners can quickly use to learn conversational language to make a great impression and avoid awkward silences. First, ask questions to keep a conversation going. For beginners and even more advanced speakers, the key is to ask questions to keep a conversation going. Of course, they can't be just random questions, or else you may confuse the listener. But by memorizing a few key questions and the appropriate time to use them, you can easily carry a conversation with minimal vocabulary or experience. And remember, the more conversations you have, the quicker you will learn and master the language. Second, learn core vocabulary terms as quickly as possible. You don't need to memorize thousands of words to learn conversational language. In fact, with just a couple hundred words, you could have a very basic conversation. And by learning maybe 1,000 to 2,000 words, you could carry a conversation with a native speaker about current events, order in restaurants, and even get directions. To help you get started with this, check out our 2,000 common words, also known as our core list. These 2,000 words are all you need to learn to speak fluently and carry a conversation with a native speaker. Third, study video or audio lessons that you can play and replay again and again. If you want to know how to carry on a conversation, then you need exposure to native speakers, and the more, the better. Studying video or audio lessons is ideal because they provide contextualized learning in your native language, and you can play them again and again until you achieve mastery. Our instructors have created more than 2,500 video and audio lessons that you can play over and over. And the best part is, they don't just teach you vocabulary and grammar. They are designed to help you learn to speak and teach you practical everyday topics like shopping, ordering, and more. Although it may seem intimidating for a beginner, the truth is that it's very easy to learn conversational language. Just learn a few core vocabulary terms and which questions to ask to keep a conversation going. Our language learning program has the world's largest online collection of video and audio lessons by real instructors. Plus, tons of advanced tools to help you learn to speak and carry on a conversation quickly. Just a little practice and exposure to real conversations or lessons is all it really takes. So, if you're ready to finally learn a new language the fast, fun, and easy way, sign up for your free lifetime account by clicking on the link in the description. Signing up takes less than 30 seconds, and you'll start speaking from your very first lesson. If you enjoyed these tips, hit the like button, share the video with anyone who's trying to learn a new language, and subscribe to our channel. We release new videos every week. I'll see you next time. Bye!
Welcome to Can Do Polish by PolishPod101.com.
Cześć wszystkim, jestem Emil Nowak. Hi everyone, I'm Emil Nowak. In this lesson, you'll learn how to tell someone where you're from in Polish.
This is Mark Lee, and he's on a plane to Poland. Maciej Mazur, a passenger sitting next to him, asks, "Where are you from?"
Skąd pan jest?
Listen to the conversation and focus on Mark's response. Note, the speakers in this conversation use formal Polish. Ready?
Skąd pan jest?
Jestem z Nowego Jorku.
Once more with the English translation.
Skąd pan jest?
Where are you from?
Jestem z Nowego Jorku.
I'm from New York.
Let's take a closer look at the conversation.
Do you remember how Maciej Mazur asks, "Where are you from?"
Skąd pan jest?
First is
Skąd?
meaning from where.
Skąd? Skąd?
Next is
Pan jest.
you are in this context.
Pan jest.
Let's start with
Pan.
translating as you in this formal context.
Pan. Pan.
Note,
Pan.
is a formal way to address a male, and it often translates as Mr. Next is
Jest.
literally is, but in this context it translates as are.
Jest. Jest.
Together in this conversation,
Pan jest.
literally means Mr. is, but translates as you are in formal Polish.
Pan jest. Jest.
Is from the verb
Być.
meaning to be.
Być.
Altogether,
Skąd pan jest?
literally from where Mr. is, but it translates as where are you from?
Skąd pan jest?
Remember this question. You'll hear it again later in this lesson.
Now, let's take a closer look at the response.
Do you remember how Mark Lee says, "I'm from New York"?
Jestem z Nowego Jorku.
First is
Jestem.
I am.
Jestem. Jestem.
Note in this sentence
Jestem.
is a shortened form of
Ja jestem.
I am. In Polish,
Ja.
I is usually omitted as it's understood from context.
Jestem.
Is from the verb
Być.
meaning to be.
Być.
Last is
Z Nowego Jorku.
meaning from New York.
Z Nowego Jorku.
Let's start with
Nowego Jorku.
which is placed in the genitive case because it follows
Z. Nowego Jorku.
is the genitive form of the proper noun
Nowy Jork.
New York.
Nowy Jork.
In Polish, all nouns have grammatical gender and are either singular or plural.
Jork.
Is masculine singular, a fact that will determine the form of other words in the sentence.
Jork.
Becomes
Jorku.
when it is placed in the genitive.
Nowy.
Becomes
Nowego.
to agree with
Jorku.
in gender, number, and case. Together,
Nowego Jorku.
before
Nowego Jorku.
is
Z.
from.
Z. Z.
Altogether,
Jestem z Nowego Jorku.
I'm from New York.
Jestem z Nowego Jorku.
The pattern is
Jestem z. Location.
I'm from location.
Jestem z. Location.
To use this pattern, simply replace the location placeholder with the name of your hometown. Note, this pattern requires a proper noun placed in the genitive and works with the names of cities, villages, towns, or countries. Imagine you're from Sydney. In Polish,
Sydney. Sydney. Sydney.
note the genitive form of
Sydney.
is.
Sydney.
Say, I'm from Sydney. Ready?
Jestem z Sydney.
I'm from Sydney.
Jestem z Sydney.
Polish operates with 3 words for you. Ty, you, informal term. Pan, you, formal term to address a male. Pani, you, formal term to address a female. When talking about where you're from, the pattern jestem z requires the proper noun of a location, and this location name must be placed in the genitive.
There are some simple rules that will help you create the genitive case based on the ending of the noun. First, masculine nouns in Polish tend to end in consonants. To form the genitive for masculine, singular nouns, attach
A,
or.
U. Kraków,
Krakow becomes.
Krakowa. Londyn,
London becomes.
Londynu.
As a rule of thumb for masculine nouns, inanimate nouns or nouns of foreign origin in the genitive often end with
U. Nowego Jorku,
New York.
Nowego Jorku. Biznes,
Business becomes.
biznesu.
Feminine nouns tend to end in.
A,
To form the genitive of feminine singular nouns, replace the
A,
ending with an.
Warszawa,
Warsaw becomes.
Warszawy.
If the noun ends in an,
K, Ga,
replace the last letter with an.
I. Polska,
Poland becomes.
Polski.
If the noun ends in
Ci,
or,
zi,
replace the letter with an
c,
or
z,
and attach an
i.
at the end.
Łódź,
Lodz becomes.
Łodzi.
Neuter nouns tend to end in an.
O,
To form the genitive of neuter singular nouns, replace the ending
o,
with an.
a. Maroko,
Morocco becomes.
Maroka.
Note, there is a set of irregular nouns, such as
Seattle,
or,
Sydney.
that don't change in the genitive. Let's look at some examples. Listen and repeat, or speak along with the native speakers.
Jestem z Nowego Jorku. Jestem z Nowego Jorku.
Jestem z Suwałk, a ty? Jestem z Suwałk, a ty?
Jestem z Seattle, a pan? Jestem z Seattle, a pan?
Jestem z Londynu, a pani? Jestem z Londynu, a pani?
Jestem z Polski. Jestem z Polski.
Jestem Australijką. Jestem Australijką.
Did you notice how the last speaker uses a different pattern?
Jestem Australijką.
I'm Australian.
Jestem Australijką.
First is
Jestem.
I am.
Jestem. Jestem.
Next is
Australijką.
an Australian woman.
Australijką. Australijką.
Note,
Australijką.
is the instrumental form of the feminine noun
Australijka.
Australian.
Australijka.
To form the instrumental case for feminine singular nouns ending in,
A.
replace it with
On. Australijka.
becomes.
Australijką.
This pattern is
Jestem nationality.
I'm nationality. To use this pattern, simply replace the nationality placeholder with your nationality. Note: this pattern requires a noun in the instrumental case, and its gender will depend on the gender of the speaker. Mia Martin uses
Australijką.
Jestem Australijką.
a male speaker from Australia would use
Australijczykiem. Jestem Australijczykiem.
I'm Australian.
Jestem Australijczykiem.
Note:
Australijczykiem.
is the instrumental form of the masculine noun.
Australijczyk.
To form the instrumental case for masculine singular nouns with the ending
G,
or k, n
I,
is added before the instrumental ending
M. Australijczyk.
becomes.
Australijczykiem.
You can use this response to answer the question,
Skąd pan jest? Skąd pani jest?
or its informal form.
Skąd jesteś?
You should be aware of this pattern, but you won't need it for this lesson. Let's review the new vocabulary.
Suwałki.
Suwałki,
Suwałki. Suwałki. Z Suwałk.
from Suwałki,
Z Suwałk. Seattle.
Seattle,
Seattle. Seattle. Z Seattle.
from Seattle,
Z Seattle. Londyn.
London,
Londyn. Londyn. Z Londynu.
from London,
Z Londynu. Polska.
Poland,
Polska. Polska. Z Polski.
from Poland.
Z Polski. A pan?
And you, mister?
A pan? A pani?
And you, miss?
A pani? A ty?
And you?
A ty? Let's review. Respond to the prompts by speaking aloud. Then, repeat after me, focusing on pronunciation. Ready? Do you remember how to say from? Z. Z. And how to say from New York? Z Nowego Jorku. Z Nowego Jorku. Do you remember how Mark says, I'm from New York?
Jestem z Nowego Jorku.
Jestem z Nowego Jorku. Do you remember how to say from where? Skąd? Skąd? And do you remember how Maciej Mazur asks, where are you from? Literally, from where Mr. is.
Skąd pan jest?
Skąd pan jest? Do you remember how to say from London? Z Londynu. Z Londynu. And how to say from Seattle? Z Seattle. Z Seattle. Do you remember how to say from Poland? Z Polski. Z Polski.
Let's practice. Imagine you're Jack Jones from London. Respond to Maciej Mazur's question. Ready?
Skąd jesteś?
Jestem z Londynu.
Listen again and repeat.
Jestem z Londynu. Jestem z Londynu.
Let's try another. Imagine you're Emma Englot from Seattle. Ready?
Skąd pani jest?
Jestem z Seattle.
Listen again and repeat.
Jestem z Seattle. Jestem z Seattle.
Let's try one more. Imagine you're Emil Nowak from Poland. Ready?
Skąd pan jest?
Jestem z Polski.
Listen again and repeat.
Jestem z Polski. Jestem z Polski.
Now, here's what you can do to cement this conversation in your head. Review the conversation with our dialogue tool and lesson transcripts. Study the key words and phrases with our spaced repetition flashcards. Review the key grammar and cultural tips inside the lesson notes. And test yourself with our assessment tests. So click the link in the description right now and sign up for your free lifetime account to access our Can-Do course.
Now you know how to say where you're from in Polish. That's all there is to it. Keep practicing and move on to the next lesson.
Expand your vocabulary with our Core 2000 Words ebook. It's free and packed with essential expressions that you'll use on a daily basis. Start building your vocabulary today. Click the link in the description below to download your free Polish ebook before it's gone.